Hi, my name is Barrie Crampton. Today, I'm just going to go through a site where we buy cars from, and it's where private people advertise to traders. So we can bid on them. They come from private people. If we're successful and we give the highest bid, then we just arrange collection, go and pick them up, make sure it's as described, bank transfer the money, and then come away hopefully with a good car. Now, I have noticed on here, in the press just recently, there's been stories from CAP about EVs have gone up. I would have to say I don't agree with that. I would have to say that when you look on British car auctions, buy it now prices, they aren't CAP clean. They're mostly behind CAP clean. So if British car auction can't achieve CAP clean for a vehicle, then I don't think anybody can. Now, the other thing that makes me wonder on this site is because the private people selling, the time they've had the vehicle. I'm just going to go through a few anyway, and just see if you can keep up with my logic. The first question is, why are they selling them on a trade site? Why aren't they, if they're going to buy another car, why aren't they part exchanging the cars? Because we're short of stock, we're way down. And I did notice that Cleveley Autos, I did notice that he said he's having trouble filling his showroom up with EVs. I don't understand why that is, because there's any amount available. Perhaps that's just a little bit more hype. People tell white lies just to show how well they're doing. To be fair, it's a common thing in the trade. But today, as I say, I wonder why these people aren't part exchanging the car. Now, to me, the only reason can be is that these people that are selling privately these EVs is because they're going to buy a petrol car, or petrol, diesel, an ICE car, whatever. And I don't think at the moment dealers are taking EVs in against an ICE car. They'll take an EV in against another EV if they're getting rid of one and getting rid of a problem. Then sure, if you get some money in and you get something that's cheaper, you've more chance of selling it. So I can imagine that. What I can't imagine is these the EV disciples keep chucking at me. EV owners, 90% of them won't go back to an ICE car. 90%, it's a heck of a lot, that. It's basically, there's only 5% of cars on Auto Trader are EVs. So it's a tiny number. And I dare say, if they've been sold the car properly, they won't go back to an ICE car. If the EV suits the needs, they won't go back to an ICE car. It's so easy and simple, charging from home if you can. Why would you do that? Why would you go, why would you want to go to a petrol station every night? I remember during COVID, it was just horrendous. Whenever you needed to go for fuel, it was just horrendous. The worst people in the world seem to hang around in petrol stations, and everybody coughing and so on. I'd have given anything to have an EV then. That would have been fantastic. But anyway, why are they selling on here? And also, why aren't they selling on Auto Trader? Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very, very good site. And these cars do sell. Despite me going on about EVs not selling, on this site they do. I'm just looking now, 2 bids, 2 bids, 4 bids, 4 bids. And those are on fairly unpopular cars. So people will buy things for a price if it's cheap enough. But again, if it's cheap enough is not CAP clean, because some of these cars, if you go on Auto Trader, they have a retail index and they tell you how long you would expect to have the car before you sold it. Now, if a car's coming down, say £500 a month, and you have it 2 months, you have to reduce that car because there's other cars coming on the market. If you don't reduce it, you're just going to be stuck with your car. It didn't matter in the old days. You just had it on forecourt with the price on. it didn't matter about reducing it. Now everything's on Auto Trader and motors and so on. So people check, and they check on cheapest price. If you're not one of the cheapest, they never get to see you. I mean, these days on Auto Trader, you scroll through the pages and pages. Half the EVs haven't even got photographs. They can't even be bothered photographing the cars, which is a real big pet hate of mine, because if you follow us, you'll probably know that we do 70 photos at least, probably, and a video if I've got time to do it. So we try and do the job properly, and these people aren't. So today on this site, there's 798 vehicles in total. If I narrow that down to electric, to just electric, there's 22. Now, I'm particularly conscious of not showing you the screen because it's a trade site to start off with. I don't want them to get the hump about it, and you know, we do buy a lot of cars off this place. It is good. So I don't want them to get the hump, and I don't want them to ban me from using it. But I'm going to go through it anyway. And this it's not, certainly not negative on the sales side. I have nothing but good things to say about those. So let's get that out of the way. But there's 22 vehicles. Now I've just quickly gone through them before. I've left it a bit late because there's only an hour and 11 minutes left of the sale, and then they'll just disappear because I'm sure they will sell. So I've favorited a few. So I'll just go on to my short list. So out of the 22 that are for sale, I've picked 10 vehicles just to go through and show you. Now, the first one is a Kia EV6 Air, and well, it's done 19,700 miles. If I scroll down and I go to the owners, it's had 4 owners. The first one had it a month and 10 days. The second one had it 3 months and 10 days. The third one had it 9 months and 22 days. This last one's had it a year and 6 months. So the next owner will be the 5th owner. You know, that isn't normal for a vehicle. It really isn't. Some sports cars, you get 5 owners, you know, like 1 a year or something, but not like that. People or learner drivers' cars, they tend to pass the test and then get another one. Understandable. That's not a learner driver's car. That's a very expensive EV. So we've got that at 19,700 miles. Then, when I scroll further, as I say, it's a really, really good site. You've got a service invoice. The service invoice for the first service, carried out first 20,000 annual service in accordance with manufacturer's specification. Now, there's people on here, and there's loads of them, they don't need servicing. They're cheap to run, they never need servicing, they don't need anything doing, they don't need an oil change, they don't need coolant, they don't need well, they do need coolant, and there is oil in there. If it leaks out, you've got a huge problem. But this one, they've changed the brake fluid. Brake fluid is important to change because it's hygroscopic, it absorbs water. What happens then if you brake hard, the disc heats up and the water in the brake pipes turns to steam. Now, liquids can't be compressed, gases can. Steam can be compressed. So what happens then is you lose your pedal and you lose your braking. So that's why it's important to keep your brake fluid changed. Supposedly there's nothing to do on these. So they've changed the brake fluid, and they've done a aircon system purge. $24.99. I don't know what that is, but that's 350 quid. What have they done for 350 quid? As I say, I got somebody on the internet shouting at me saying, oh, they're cheaper to service, and well, are they? If there's nothing to do, how's it got to 350 quid? All I can see there is change filter assembly, brake fluid, which takes 15 minutes, an aircon system purge. You know, a standard charge for the first service is £246 plus VAT. So not that cheap to service. So we move on to the next one, a Tesla Model 3 Performance all-wheel drive. 2020, it's done 45,817 miles. Now this one interests me because this is one of these 3 to 5 year old cars that sales are up by 138% year on year on 3 to 5 year old EVs. So we just go down, keep a start date, 20th of the 2nd, 2024. This last owner's had it 7 months and 8 days. So it's going to have, within this year, it's going to have had 3 owners. When it sells, and it probably will sell today, there's 3 bids on it, it will have had 3 owners, or when they sell it, within 12 months. That's not normal. You know, I mean, it just isn't. So, next one is a Nissan Ariya Advance. It's done 9,500 miles and it's 2022. We click on that. And let me just check my notes a second. That was, keep a start date, 1st of 12th, 2023. It's 3 owners. The first one had it 10 months and 9 days. The second one, 5 months and 25 days. And the current one, 9 months and 27 days. So again, no one's had that car. That will be fantastic to drive, but nobody's kept it for even 12 months. And it's up for sale again. So that will be another, you know, another owner. It's going to have 4 owners in no time at all. There's a service invoice on here. Go to the service invoice, check that out. Just try and magnify it a bit. And again, we've got fluid, I'm assuming that's brake fluid, screen wash, and an air filter. The air filter is 1867. Brake fluid 11.98, screen wash £1. That's remarkably good value. £1.81 there. They're pretty good there. So we go down. The bill is, when I can get to it, the bill is £229 in total. In that, there is an environmental charge of £15. Now, I would think that is normally applied for disposing of oil, but an EV doesn't have oil, so you know, I mean, we used to charge for brake cleaner. That was quite important. When I first started in the motor trade, they just used to blow all the discs off, and there were asbestos pads, so they blow all the dust off and it'd be all going through the workshop. So you worry about carbon monoxide and fumes from a petrol engine. We had asbestos all around. Everything was covered in asbestos dust. So that's the Ariya. We'll go to the Mini. Mini Cooper S Electric Level 2. It's a 22 plate. It's done 13,865 miles. Click on there. That's had 4 bids. No doubt that will sell. Although, you know, usually these people, they have it on 2 sites at once, so sometimes we bid on vehicles and we have to wait until it's finished on, say, CarWow, or they've got it on Auto Trader as well. So you never know until the end of the auction, until they let you know. So that's, keep a start date, everything normal on that, 11th of the 4th, 2022. But then, what makes me look and think, you know, this just isn't right. It's done 13,865 miles. Then when you look at the brake discs and the wheels, the brake discs are absolutely rusty. They really are. The wheels are covered in brown dust. The EV cult. EVs don't create brake particulates. Well, to be fair, they do. You know, that may not be the brake. This is Regen, because they never use the brakes around town. The Regen slows the vehicle down. But what it does do, because your brakes aren't being used, a layer of rust builds up on them. Then the first time you need to use the brakes, all the rust comes off. Well, that's iron oxide. You can get a disease called siderosis, I don't know how you, but inhaling rust particles, persistent coughing, breathlessness, and decreased lung function. So that's off the, so, and then you've got this other mechanic, and the survey by the RAC saying that he has to replace brakes because they've seized up, not because they've worn out, because they've seized up. Listen, I want my brakes to wear out because when I press my brake pedal, I want the car to stop. I don't want the brakes to be seized and have to rely on Regen stopping me. So that's a stupid idea. And the fact that they even try and create a positive out of that is just unbelievable. You know, it's just stupid. Your brakes should work. Your brakes should work at 100% all the time. Not 90, not 70, not be working on 50% of the discs because they're all corroded and rusty. That's stupid. It takes 60% of a car's energy to move the air out of the way at the front. So therefore, that same thing, it stands to reason that slows you down too. So you're better off using wind resistance to slow you down and then braking when you can, and your brakes are nice and clean, and you're also better off using your energy to accelerate. It's harder, when you start pushing, if you start pushing a vehicle, you're like, oh, trying to get it going. Then once it goes, it becomes easier because you've overcome the friction, you've overcome the kinetic energy, I think it is. You know, the car's moving. So just let it move. Let it slow down naturally, and when you need to, brake. And because you're not accelerating and not using the power, you know, why harvest it? You've not used it, why harvest it? You know, it's ridiculous to me. Don't get me wrong, there's cleverer people than me worked it out. But I just think, I don't care how much electricity is, if somebody steps out on that zebra crossing, I want to be able to stop. If somebody comes off the pavement, if a dog runs out, I want to be able to stop. You know, I don't want to think, oh, my Regen, well, you know, my brake pads, yeah, killed him, but look at the energy I saved. You know, it's something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, or smash the front of your car in. It's stupid. So now we go on to an ID Life, 2021 with 48,000 miles on the clock. There's 10 bids on this. A real price rangey EV. I'd have a go at that. That looks great. But it's one of these 3 to 5 year olds that I've seen sales up 138% year on year. So we then go down to the owners. Keep a start date, 22nd of the 5th, 2024. So it's belonged to one person for 3 years and 23 days, and now the current owner has had it 4 months and 6 days. So it's going to have changed hands twice this year, the year where 3 to 5 year old EV sales are up 130. Is anybody but me now starting to think, hang on, is this right? These cars are coming back into the trade. People have bought them. This person has bought this 4 months and 6 days ago, and he's now not part exchanging it for another at a garage. And if you listen to the EV shills, one of them, absolute rubbish. I don't know who's out there, but they're paying way over cap for EVs. No, they're not. So we'll dispense of that. So if there were these people, especially EV, why aren't they buying this vehicle? Why aren't they taking it in part exchange against what other these people are buying? If EVs are such good news, why isn't the dealer asking him? We want part X's. We don't want people to come with no part X, because we then have to find another car. And it's twice as hard, well, it's 10 times harder work going out and finding a vehicle than it is taking a nice clean vehicle in. So we'd want to take that car in. Even an EV, I'd want to take that in. I am not an EV hater, by the way. Honest, I promise. I'm really not. But 4 months and 6 days. So this car has been bought, no doubt, off a trader, and now this person is putting it back, and it will go to another trader to sell it again, report it sold, 138%. You know, I mean, it just doesn't look right to me. I smell a rat somewhere. The new vehicle, the new EVs, figures, sales figures are being massaged. It looks to me now like the used EV, and you know, you'd all be in the comments saying, oh, conspiracy theorists, you can't do that. Well, they can, trust me. I promise you, they can. And it will also cost them a lot less than £15,000 at the end of the year to do this and get another EV in the system and get people thinking, oh, I've got to get an EV, everybody likes them, they're up 138%, why haven't I got one? Yeah, oh God, I need to go out and get an EV. That's what they're trying to create. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know there's a lady on Twitter who said that the unintended consequences of owning an EV is free holidays. I'll move on to that in a later video, but here we go. We've got, I think it's virtually the same car as hers, a Kia Niro 4 EV. That's a 72 plate. It's 2023 with 5,300 miles. There's 5 bids on that at the moment. Again, that'll be a great car. These EVs, when you drive them, they're the best car you've driven. The fact that they're killing the motor trade is the thing that I don't like, but to drive them, they're great. If you can charge up at home, they're cheap. You know, if you haven't bought it new, if you bought it new and you want to sell it like this person after, let's just find it, he bought it on the 31st of it was, oh right, oh, hang on. He bought it new, the first owner, on the 31st of the 1st, 2023, and then there's another keeper. The first owner had it 7 months and 29 days. The second owner has had it 11 months and 30 days. So that's now for sale, and it's going to be another car or another EV that's going to sell this year. Yeah, so that's been serviced at 5,239 miles. And the brake discs look a bit corroded. Another one, it'll be around town. No need to brake, no need to use your proper foot brake. So just the regen slowing you down. The discs corrode when you actually do need them. You've got to scrub all that rust off first before they grab properly. And it's scary, it really is. I don't think they look fantastic. Not very bad, but pitting is starting. And once it gets in, it's below the brake pads. Once it's in the service, it's below the brake pads, and that's it. It just gets deeper and deeper until they just corrode. You can't do anything about it except you resurface them or new discs and pads. So you're just wasting your money. Anything you save in regen, you're just wasting your money having to get new discs and pads. Or when you put it another way, what you save in regen, you could take in a life. The difference between your stopping distance, it only has to be that much. Well, I might be a bit bigger than that, but that's all it has to be, your stopping distance. That's the difference between stopping and killing somebody. That, you know, that's the way I think. Renault Zoe Dynamic. It's done 10,305 miles. There's no bids whatsoever on that. They are awful. In my opinion, they are absolutely awful, Zoes. I look at the MOTs on them. There's brake discs, there's blooming suspension. They go through tyres like nobody's business. It's just, I've not checked that. Let me see if I can just check this. Check another vehicle. So there we go. LS 18. Oh, best not say it out loud, as long as you can't lip read. So Renault Zoe, MOT history. Oh my word. So, you know, as I say, Quentin, you've got Quentin saying your brake disc lasts 40,000 miles. This one at 7,867 miles. Oh goodness. Honestly, these Renault Zoes, they just make me sick. They make me sick to the stomach. They are just crap. There's another guy on here, Loudmouth. He's had a Zoe, and we had a discussion about it ages ago. It was dropping £700 a month, and he thought it was good value. But anyway, so there you go. So first of all, here we go. 7,850 miles. it failed its MOT. It's its second MOT, it failed. Offside front tyre has ply or cords exposed. Near side front tyre slightly damaged, cracking or perishing. Front brake disc worn, pitted or scored, but not seriously. And of course, they've not done anything about it on it. Replaced the tyres, left the discs as they are. Let me just see if I can see what the discs look like now. One of the owners on this had it 2 months and 27 days. We'll go down to the discs. Can I see them? Oh yeah, oh crikey, they are just horrid. They are absolutely horrid. It's done 10,305 miles. It's even got rust around the tyres where it's kind of ingrained. The next one will be, yeah, it's got drums on the back. This is Regen for you. If this person has to stop in a hurry, those discs are grooved, rusty. The brake pads will be grooved. They'll only be working on probably less than 50% of the disc there. You will notice that this has had a service as well. This is the bill. It's had front wiper blade, pollen filter, rear wiper blade and sundries. Sundries are listed at £19.50 plus VAT, which is absolutely incredible. So the parts come to £93.85, labour £110. Now, I'm not sure what for, but then of course when you actually look at work done, it says carry out full service, fit all parts listed and tune engine. Which engine would that be and what tuning did you do? I'd really like to ask them about that. You know, honestly, it really makes me tired. These shills, you know, they just tell you anything. They'll just tell you absolutely anything. Some of them, they'll tell you anything just to make £5 by giving you their affiliate link for an energy supplier. They'll cost you a fortune. You'll save, I don't know, say you charge your EV at 7 pence, and then you've got to put discs on the thing, or you can't stop, or you run into something. It's just flipping ridiculous. Next one is a Mercedes EQC 400 AMG line premium. It's a 2023, it's done 4,000 miles. Check the owners. The first owner kept it 5 months and 17 days. Possibly it was a demo. But the second owner, 6 months and 20 days. That will be the best car you've ever driven. The only reason for getting rid of that is it's inconvenient to charge. I can't see any other reason. It's not 12 months old. They're not going to be buying a new car. They're not going to want a lower mileage car than 4,000 miles. So the only reason for that can be that guy wants to get back into a nice car. I can't see any other reason, you know. And this is just one site. So there's 10 cars out of 22. What's that? I don't know, 40% is it? (45.45% of these owners, I am pretty sure, will be going back to a nice car. I can't see any other reason, any other logical reason. Perhaps the circumstances have changed. I highly doubt it. But in all honesty, I would say that all 22 of these have a reason for selling their car back to the trade because somebody else won't take it in. That's the way I think. I mentioned in the last video, one of our old customers came in with a Mini EV. Beautiful car, it was lovely, but we didn't want it. We just didn't want it. This is a 70 plate VW ID3 first edition. It's done 19,000 miles. If I click on that, it's had one owner, 30th of 9, 2020 till now. So he's had what? He's had it 4 years. Last MOT date, 18th of the 12th, 2023. Now let me pull this one up. Don't forget, according to all these shills, tyres last longer on EVs. You've got low MU tyres. So I've pulled the MOT up. On the 18th of December 2023, at 13,717 miles, it had 4 advisories. Near side rear tyre worn close to legal limit, worn on edge. Offside rear tyre worn close to legal limit, worn on edge. Near side front tyre close to legal limit, worn on edge. Offside front tyre worn close to legal limit, worn on edge. All 4 tyres at 13,717 miles, worn on the edge. Does an ID3 first edition look like a car that some boy racer is going to have? Why is it worn on the edge? You know, what is it? Does he live on the Amalfi Drive or something? Is it 500 bends? Why? And how do the back tyres wear on the edge? Have they been on the front and they've swapped them round? I don't know. Let's just have a look. Can I see anything? Oh, they're all new tyres on it. All new tyres. Oh, and then the disc. There you go, look at that disc. I mean, that's it. Think of me what you want. It doesn't matter to me what I sell. People are going on, I'm looking for an EV myself. I want another one. I've had 2 Jaguar I-Pieces. We've sold them both and made money. We've been watching EVs for a while, and I believe they're now a no-brainer. They really are a no-brainer, because what you can get in an EV for what you'd have to pay for an ICE car, if you can manage with an EV, if you can charge at home, then they are a no-brainer. And it's perfect for me. I can charge here during the day. I sit here for probably 8 hours. Well, I'll probably sit here for more, because I always get into work early, so I can just stick it on charge here. I can't stick it on charge at home because I live on the top floor apartment, so it's going to have to be a very long cable. But it's ideal here to charge. And I only do 8 miles a day, so by the time the weekend comes around, if I put it on charge here every day, by the time the weekend comes around, I've got a full charge, and I can do what, you know, I can go where I want at weekend. If you can use an EV, then by all means, but don't tell other people that they're going to do 100,000 miles on this when clearly this one's not going to last till it's 20,000 miles, because they're going to be corroded. But worse than that, even if it's corroded, fancy putting that they have to change discs or brakes because they're seized. So when they seize, that's not the discs and pads. The discs and pads are cheap, or reasonably cheap. The calipers, some of them are 600 quid. So if you've got seized brakes because you're not using your brakes and your calipers have seized, you're talking £1,000 at least. And these people go on about Regen. You're saving electric to have to put on new discs and pads and possibly calipers. I mean, I can't see, honestly, I can't see anybody with a brain cell thinking that that is a good thing. How much electricity can you get at 7p a unit, or say it's 20p, say it's 50p? How much electricity can you buy for a couple of grand in discs, pads, a caliper, and also the tyres they shred? Please do me a favour. Don't come on and say you've done so many miles in your, because the evidence is here. I check these MOTs every day. I check all these cars. Let me just say that one. How many bids has that had? That's had 8 bids. Its reserve price is £14,015. What a fun! It's done 19,000 miles. It's 4 years old. £14,015. As I say, it's a no-brainer. Please, you know, if you comment on my videos, the last few, I've got so many I can't keep up with. And the worst thing is that I tend to only reply to the ones who are nasty, which I shouldn't do, because there's loads of other comments, and there's loads of sensible comments, and there's loads of comments from people with EVs who like them, and also who don't like them, who've had one, and they don't suit the needs. That's it. You know, things don't suit everybody, but if they do, they're a no-brainer. I don't know how many times I need to say it. I am not anti-EV. I'm not an old fud. I love technology, you know. So try and keep the comments nice, because what happens is, if somebody's nasty to me, boy, can I be nasty back. And honestly, if it's a battle of wits you want, I may not be smart, but can I stick up for myself? So let's all be friends. I've no agenda at all. I just don't want people getting ripped off. The thing I think that's stopping mass EV adoption is the lies that are being told. Somebody said he went into, you know, he bought his EV with his eyes wide open. He knew what it was going to be. Well, that's great, but not everybody. The people that will probably buy EVs to start off with, the first people, are probably old people who don't do very many miles. It must have cost them a fortune. This Rachel Reeves taking the heating allowance off pensioners, 300 quid. That pales into insignificance with the amount a lot of people have lost on EVs, buying them new, being early adopters. It don't bear thinking about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.